Now, Tom Cruise's relationship with his daughter is in the spotlight also. He decided to party at a Taylor Swift concert. Instead of attending his daughter's high school graduation, Suri Cruise dropped the surname of her estranged father.
What if the man who grew up on the Hollywood red carpet was keeping a secret from his own daughter? Imagine that secret finally breaking the silence as Suri, Tom Cruise's 18-year-old daughter, steps into the spotlight and reveals everything about her father that nobody saw coming. After a whirlwind romance with Katie Holmes that seemed like a fairy tale, Tom's world split apart, leaving Suri alone and, for years, out of touch with the star who raised her. Whispers of a strained bond, a mysterious distance, and the shadow of Scientology have swirled around the family for decades. Now, after an 18-year hiatus, Suri has made a bold move that has left Hollywood stunned, including Tom himself. In this video, we dive into the truth behind the drama, uncover why the father-daughter relationship dissolved, and reveal the shocking revelations that Suri just finally shared. Get ready to see a side of Tom Cruise that no one imagined. When Suri Cruise celebrated her 18th birthday, a wave of whispers swept through Hollywood and the press. The daughter of an A-list star and a world-renowned actor, she had been kept in a delicate silence for years, shielded by a complex web of devotion and distance. Yet at that milestone, she made a decision that left even her father, Tom, stunned. It was a move that everyone, fans, journalists, insiders, could not have predicted, a bold step that reignited a decades-old drama and forced a family into a new spotlight. To understand why this revelation shook Tom as deeply as it did the public, we must rewind to the beginnings of the relationship that once seemed a script written in golden Hollywood dreams. Tom and Katie first crossed paths amid the bright glare of their flourishing careers. Katie, fresh from the acclaim she'd earned as Joey Potter on Dawson's Creek, had already tasted success, yet her heart still fluttered toward an unexpected connection. In a 17 magazine interview, she admitted that Tom had been her dream man, a confession that made the tabloids buzz. Their romance unfolded like a whirlwind, and the world watched a star couple rise to prominence, their love story appearing almost too perfect to be real. But behind the dazzling public facade, a darker undercurrent was already forming. Tom had long been a devoted follower of Scientology, a belief system that demanded not only personal commitment but also the alignment of those closest to him. The church had, according to former members, played a substantial role in his past relationships, acting as a filter for potential partners. Women were vetted, monitored, and expected to adopt the faith's doctrines. Rumors swirled that actresses such as Sofia Vergara and even Scarlett Johansson were approached, though Johansson vehemently denied any such contact. For Tom, finding a partner who would share his devotion was not simply a matter of love, it was a prerequisite for a life that would incorporate the strictures of Scientology. The early days of Tom and Katie's romance were marked by one unforgettable public moment that would become part of television lore. In 2005, Tom appeared on The Oprah Winfrey Show and, overwhelmed by love, leapt onto the famous couch in a burst of enthusiasm. He declared his affection for Katie in a way that left the audience both astonished and, for many, skeptical. His exuberance eclipsed even the promotion of his then-upcoming film War of the Worlds. The incident was a double-edged sword. While it captured hearts, it also magnified the public scrutiny of Tom's priorities, putting his relationship with the church, and by extension his marriage, under a microscope. The birth of their daughter Suri, in 2006 brought a new layer of complexity. Tom's devotion to Scientology extended into the birthing process, where the church's teachings advise silence to protect the mother and child from harmful words. Katie delivered Suri in a quiet room, with no sounds, no music, only the quiet breath of a new life. Many questioned whether Katie truly embraced this doctrine or merely complied. Some observers speculated that the practice was more a testament to Tom's influence than to any genuine spiritual conviction on Katie's part. In the months that followed, Tom and Katie began to experience growing tensions. The wedding, held in a lavish Italian castle in 2006, cost an estimated $3.5 million and was a grand spectacle. Yet whispers of red flags echoed through the halls. Delays, eccentric vows that incorporated odd promises such as tender happiness and frills upon a coma cat, and the presence of Scientologists in the crowd. Katie's parents, devout Catholics, were wary from the start, uneasy about their daughter's shift from her faith to Tom's. Despite their concerns, they ultimately attended the rehearsal dinner, attempting to offer support to the couple. The early years of marriage appeared joyous from the outside, but insiders noted subtle shifts in Katie's demeanor. Over time, her presence seemed more restrained, almost mechanical. Journalists reported that her interactions became cautious, that she was often surrounded by people who monitored her movements. A dinner in 2010 highlighted the difficulty of their public life, with Katie remarking that they rarely go out. The isolation was compounded by her severing ties with old friends and family members, a change that starkly contrasted her earlier starry-eyed self. The culmination of these pressures led to an unexpected rupture. In June 2012, Katie filed for divorce after 5 years of marriage. The announcement stunned Tom, who later admitted he did not anticipate such a turn. The timing was difficult for him, coming just before his 50th birthday, a moment he reflected upon with a mix of melancholy and humor, saying, "You're 50 and then it hits you." Tom, while attempting to maintain a positive outlook, struggled with the loss, and his spokesperson urged privacy as he turned his focus to his children from his previous marriage, Connor and Isabella. For Katie, the priority was always Suri. Her lawyer issued a statement emphasizing her daughter's best interests, and Katie's subsequent public appearances in New York reflected a newfound freedom. Fans observed a relief in her expressions. The controlling life within Tom's world seemed to have been shed.
At the ceremony, what is the reason behind this estrangement? Apparently, he hasn't seen her for some 7 years.
The custody battle that followed was complex but decisive. Katie sought sole custody of Suri, a move aimed at shielding her daughter from the church's influence. The settlement terms remained confidential, yet the custody agreement reflected a broader narrative: the clash between a father's religious devotion and a mother's desire to protect her child's upbringing. Now, fast forward to Suri's 18th year. The silence that had wrapped her life had finally dissolved. At that moment, Suri made a decision that would once again thrust the family into the media's eye. While the specifics of her bold move have yet to be fully disclosed, rumors circulate that she either announced her intention to distance herself from Scientology, declare her own independence, or perhaps made a public statement about her future path, be it a career choice, a personal belief, or a desire to break free from the family's complicated legacy. Tom's reaction is particularly telling. He did not anticipate this revelation, and his comments in the days that followed were laden with a mixture of sorrow and disbelief. He expressed gratitude for the time he had with his daughter, acknowledging the significance of this new chapter. His own sense of humor, once the hallmark of his public persona, appeared muted as he processed this unexpected shift. The story of Tom, Katie, and Suri serves as a poignant reminder of how public lives can be shaped by unseen forces. Scientology's teachings and practices have played a role in the family's drama, from the birth of Suri to the isolation of Katie and the eventual divorce. Yet it is the most recent revelation, that Suri at 18, has taken a stand that perhaps she has been preparing for all along, that brings this saga full circle. In a world where stars shine brightly yet hide their scars, the courageous step taken by a young woman at the cusp of adulthood invites a fresh conversation about faith, family, and the boundaries between them. Suri Cruise's 18th birthday, a milestone that had once been marked by secrecy and legal paperwork, finally became a public celebration of independence. On the day of her high school graduation, the campus buzzed with the clink of diplomas and the chatter of proud parents. In a quiet hallway, she wore a plain black cap that seemed to echo the understated style that had defined her upbringing for so long. Yet the most striking moment for anyone watching was the subtle shift in her identity. She signed the graduation program not as Suri Cruise, but as Suri Noelle, a choice that signaled a deliberate step away from the weight of the Cruise name and toward the new life she was building beside her mother. The decision to adopt her mother's middle name, Noelle, as her surname was more than a bureaucratic tweak. It was a gesture of loyalty, a quiet declaration that her future would be shaped by the values instilled by Katie Holmes rather than the Hollywood legacy she had inherited from her father. For Suri, the change was a personal affirmation of her desire to forge a distinct path while keeping the bond with her mother close. She felt proud to carry a name that carried her own story, a name that would echo in the corridors of Carnegie Mellon as she entered her freshman year. The day's ceremony also highlighted the deepening divide between Suri and Tom Cruise. While a handful of reporters speculated about why the action star did not attend, he was reportedly on the sidelines of a Taylor Swift concert the same night, laughing with other celebrities and enjoying a moment of public glamour. The contrast between Tom's high-profile concert attendance and his absence from his daughter's graduation was jarring for many observers, especially when the legal documents that had kept Suri away from her father's world were no longer a barrier. Back in New York, Katie Holmes continued to cultivate the quiet life she had built since the divorce. She had become a pillar of stability for Suri, supporting her through the emotional complexities of a new identity and a new academic environment. In the weeks that followed the graduation, Katie was a frequent presence at Carnegie Mellon, often seen helping Suri settle into her dormitory in Pittsburgh. The mother's hands lifted boxes into a fresh college dorm, the weight of years of caregiving easing into a new phase where her daughter would find her own voice on a campus known for its rigorous arts and engineering programs. Suri's arrival at Carnegie Mellon was marked by a subtle yet powerful statement. She was the first to wear a Carnegie Mellon sweatshirt during her official announcement on decision day, a bold move that went viral among social media circles. The choice of school, one of the nation's most prestigious, echoed the trajectory of her mother's own educational background, as Katie had attended a similar institution in her youth. The image of Suri Noelle, fresh and determined, walking the campus paths in a blue varsity jacket, captured the imagination of those following her story. She quickly became a freshman whose presence was felt more by the quiet hum of conversations in her hallway than by loud applause. In Pittsburgh, the early days of college life were a study in adaptation. Suri Noelle found herself navigating the challenges of a new city, meeting classmates, and attending introductory lectures. She kept her profile low, but she also began to explore the creative side that had always been nurtured by her mother. Her vocal talents, which she had contributed to a few of Katie's short films, blossomed as she joined the university's choir. Her voice, a gentle yet confident timbre, resonated in the halls of Carnegie Mellon's music department, hinting at the possibility of a career in the arts rather than the Hollywood spotlight that her father had mastered. Katie, meanwhile, found herself back in New York City as an empty nester. She had spent the last few years balancing her own creative projects with the demands of motherhood. A key milestone in her career was the release of her latest short film, Our Town, which had opened on Broadway. She managed to keep the event low-key, sharing backstage photographs of the opening night with her close family, a testament to her willingness to keep her personal life out of the public eye. When Suri was present for a single showing, the mother-daughter dynamic was palpable. The two shared a quiet, supportive look that captured the affection that had grown over the years. The contrast between Tom's public life and his personal detachment from Suri's life is a recurring theme in the narrative of the Cruise family. While Suri has
But there are rules within Scientology that if you are engaged with people very close to you that leave or refuse to engage in Scientology, you are supposed to distance yourself. I mean, it's very heartless.
Taken her own steps, Tom remains entrenched in a career that demands a high degree of focus and dedication. His involvement in the Mission Impossible franchise continues unabated, with the latest installment, Dead Reckoning Part 2, slated for release in May 2025. Yet, it is his other ventures that capture the public's imagination, most notably his announced plans to shoot a film on the International Space Station. This ambitious project, directed by Doug Liman, would place Tom Cruise as one of the first civilians to perform a spacewalk within a movie role, a groundbreaking crossover between Hollywood and NASA's real-world space exploration initiatives. The juxtaposition of Tom's high-profile, adrenaline-driven career against Suri's quiet academic pursuits has sparked a wave of speculation about the future of the father-daughter relationship. Online communities and media outlets have taken to dissecting every piece of public behavior, hoping to uncover any sign of reconciliation. Yet, the legal agreements that establish the custody arrangement after the divorce remain unaltered, granting Katie sole decision-making power over Suri's upbringing. The absence of Tom at significant moments, her graduation, her university transfer, speaks to a long-standing distance that is unlikely to be erased overnight. Suri's choice to adopt Noelle as her last name was a symbolic break from the past that resonated far beyond the immediate family circle. It signified not just a desire for independence but a strategic move to re-anchor her identity with the woman who had provided her with the most consistent support throughout her early life. By aligning herself with the name Noelle, she placed her mother at the forefront of her personal narrative, subtly asserting her own agency within the public sphere. This decision, while seemingly small, is laden with psychological weight. It speaks to a deep need for belonging that is both personal and public, a need that has found its expression in her everyday choices, from the university she attends to the way she presents herself in public. In the world of celebrity, Suri has managed to maintain a delicate balance between public exposure and private life. While she and Katie occasionally appear together in photographs that highlight their shared sense of style, they do so in a way that steers clear of the tabloid spotlight. Suri's fashion choices, oversized jackets, layered fall outfits, mirror Katie's understated elegance, creating a subtle visual narrative of mother and daughter in sync. Even on the streets of New York, where their looks complement one another, the media can sense a quiet intimacy that defies the high-energy theatrics associated with Tom Cruise. The influence of Scientology looms large in the backstory of the Cruise family. From Tom's involvement in the church to the impact of its beliefs on the dynamics within the family, the narrative is complex. Suri's mother's decision to keep her children away from the church's teachings was a protective act, a step toward shielding them from an environment that could be perceived as controlling. Katie's role as a mother has always been framed by this protective stance. The legal agreements that granted her custody of Suri were partially motivated by a desire to remove her daughter from the church's influence. This historical context informs the current tension between the father and daughter. It is not merely a matter of distance but of differing worldviews shaped by upbringing and faith. Looking forward, the question remains whether Tom Cruise and Suri Noelle will ever bridge the chasm that has defined their relationship since the divorce. There are no concrete plans for reconciliation, nor is there a clear indication that the distance will widen. Tom's focus on his film career and ambitious space project leaves little room for personal family drama. Yet, the very nature of the film industry, with its constant networking and close collaboration, could inadvertently bring the two together. Whether through a shared project, a public appearance, or simply a quiet conversation in a hotel lobby, the possibility of a softened relationship exists, albeit with the complexities of legal and personal boundaries that have been in place for over a decade. In the quiet corners of their lives, both Katie and Suri have carved a niche that reflects their shared values and separate ambitions. Katie continues to write, direct, and produce films that echo her own experiences while offering a platform for Suri's creative talents. Suri, as a freshman at Carnegie Mellon, is carving her own path in a world that is increasingly digital and global. Their dynamic, one that began with legal agreements, a restrictive custody arrangement, and the heavy weight of a public figure, has evolved into a nuanced relationship that is still open to change. In the end, the story of Tom Cruise's daughter is a narrative about the human desire for identity and belonging, about the ways we protect and nurture those we love, and about the ever-present possibility of redemption or continued distance. As Suri Noelle steps into the future, carrying her mother's name and her own independent spirit, the world watches with curiosity and empathy. Whether the father and daughter will reconnect or remain apart, one thing remains clear: their individual journeys, shaped by love, faith, and the relentless push towards self-definition, will continue to unfold, each step a testament to the resilience of family bonds that refuse to be quietly broken. Suri's quiet name change and bold stand at 18 cut through years of silence, proving that even a Hollywood legacy can be reshaped by a single decisive moment. Tom Cruise's stunned reaction, the lingering custody split, and the shadow of Scientology still loom, but the emerging distance between father and daughter now seems to be a choice rather than an inevitability. Whether the fractured bond will mend, or whether Suri will forge a wholly independent path outside her father's spotlight, remains open. Yet one truth endures: the quest for identity and belonging can outlast the most powerful public image, leaving us to wonder, can a family built on secrecy ever truly reconcile?